waiting for the next domino to fall. It could be Jaylen Brown. Shams Charania, Vince Goodwill with me here in New York. Shams, the latest on a Jaylen Brown trade. What are you hearing?
Courtney, each day this week, the Boston Celtics have been actively engaged in trade conversations around Jaylen Brown with multiple interested teams. We know they went after Giannis. They offered Jaylen Brown and 2 unprotected first-round picks. They missed out on Giannis. He ends up in Miami. And so now they're left to really pick up the pieces, deal with the fallout. There's been some hard conversations. So where does this go from here? We know they tried to get Giannis, but what's the ask now? My understanding is in some cases the Celtics have asked teams for at least 4 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown. He's got 3 years left on his contract at a supermax clip. So where does that put him as far as his value? And if this is a Boston team that's been contending in the Eastern Conference, and their potential ask for some teams is a package of picks and players. How have they reimagined this roster moving forward, their finances, their viability as a contender in the Eastern Conference? But I do think as of right now, time will tell which side will bring the urgency to this matter this offseason.
For a player that we know has such a high ceiling in Jaylen Brown and coming off the best season of his career, Vince. I mean, I hear Shams say 4 first-round picks. That's a lot. I also know what the Giannis package was. So what do you think teams will actually be looking for? Is it seriously going to take that much, or could there be an offer where maybe there's another player packaged in there and it might lessen the cost for Boston?
You can ask for whatever you want, Courtney. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it, especially if you're the Boston Celtics at this point. When you look at Jaylen Brown's contract, remember he's eligible for 2 years, $140 million on an extension on top of the contract he has already. You have to factor that in, the financial realities of where the NBA is. You cannot ignore what you're going to have to pay a player like Jaylen Brown and where your team is to absorb a player like that. If he's going to be your best player, then you have to understand, like, okay, are we going to be contending? Or if he's your second best player, you know where you're going to be, because you know if he's your second best player, you can get to the NBA Finals. The question is, where does Boston sit on this? If you're asking for 4 first-round draft picks, and you're looking at that roster, and you're looking at some of the holes in the roster, the deficiencies, and how Jaylen Brown was able to sort of curt all of that and carry them to 60 wins, what are your long-term plans? Are you planning to take a step back to then take a step forward? Are you planning on having another gap year this year if you're trading Jaylen Brown? I think that's the biggest question here. Where do the Celtics see themselves long-term in this vision? It's
funny you say gap year in the Boston Celtics. I remember famously hearing that last year, and this was a team that won all those games without Jason Tatum. Obviously, a first-round exit in the playoffs wasn't great. But so let's talk options here, because I would imagine a lot of teams would be willing to make the call to Brad Stevens, to want to engage in those talks on Jaylen Brown. Who makes the most sense?
Well, making the most sense from a standpoint of where Jaylen Brown fits is one thing, as opposed to the draft capital that Shams was talking about. To me, the Houston Rockets really intrigue me from the standpoint of youth, athleticism, the relationship that Jaylen had with Ime Udoka. I'm very fascinated by that, as well as the Denver Nuggets, because Nikola Jokic is still the best player on earth, and we kind of seem to forget that sort of thing. And if your running mate is Jaylen Brown and he's healthy, then that puts them right back into the championship conversation with San Antonio and OKC. But that's me playing fantasy basketball here.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of it. I want to bring in Tim McMahon for your thoughts on that. You hear the Houston Rockets, a team that he obviously knows the head coach very well in Ime Udoka. That's who he began his career with in Boston. Is that a potential fit that makes sense for the Celtics and for the Rockets?
Well, listen, it's certainly been speculated throughout the league. Vinny's not the first one to bring that up. I did call to check on that with the Rockets, and the messaging was that there's no intent to get in on the bidding for Jaylen Brown in Houston at this point. So that's where things stand with the Rockets. Certainly understand where the dots can be connected. But again, you know, the Rockets aren't looking at this as an opportunity that they're trying to pounce on.
Yeah, I mean, Shams, you said that teams are obviously very aware of this. Free agency now feels like it starts weeks before everything becomes final, because if you're going to upgrade your roster, more times than not, it's going to come via trade. Who are the Boston Celtics talking to right now?
First of all, Courtney, I just got a FaceTime from Pat McAfee. He told me I need to smile more. So here's a smile for you, Pat, watching at home somewhere. They're talking to a slew of teams. The majority of their conversations so far in the Western Conference. But if you have draft capital, you think of teams, if I'm the Celtics and I want teams to give me draft capital, you look at a team like the Brooklyn Nets. You know, do they have interest? The Grizzlies have a bunch of firsts. The Thunder have a bunch of firsts. I'm not saying these are teams that are interested in Jaylen Brown, but if that's the goal, that's really where you look at. Portland has been a team that has interest in Jaylen Brown. They had interest in LaMelo Ball. They had interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo. So they are a team that has a ton of draft capital. They've got a ton of young talent on this team. So could they make an offer? And with Giannis, my understanding was he had no interest being in Portland, but he had 1 year left on his deal that gave him power. He had an ability to basically negate any type of trade to a team like Portland. Jaylen Brown's got 3 years left on his deal. If you're the Portland Trailblazers and you have the assets and the capability to go get a Jaylen Brown, there's not that worry that, hey, he might not extend long-term. He's already in long-term.
And an organization that has a new head coach, believes they have a new direction, trying to make the most of it. We'll see. I'm hoping that you're going to be breaking a trade and not just taking calls from Pat McAfee on this show. I'm really kind of trying to manifest this here on a Friday morning.
You know what, Courtney? I would love nothing more than that right now.
Hey, NBA, make it happen. Coming up next, LeBron's future.
Our breaking news today, the Timberwolves put off the latest NBA blockbuster, acquiring LaMelo Ball from the Hornets. Charlotte gets Naz Reid, a first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, and 3 second-round picks. Anthony Edwards gets a big-name running mate. Ball figures to form a fierce 1-2 punch with Anthony Edwards in the backcourt. The pair averaged nearly 50 points per game between them last season. Minnesota added another key piece at last season's trade deadline in Ayo Dosunmu, who agreed to a 5-year deal earlier this week to return to the Timberwolves. NBA analyst Danny Green joins us now. So, Danny, let's look at both angles of this trade, starting with Minnesota. Break down this fit of LaMelo Ball with the Wolves first.
I don't know where to start. I mean, it'll be entertaining. They're very guard heavy. They're guys, they can shoot threes. They're capable, but they're not shooters. So it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. But you lost a lot of your stretch shooting with Julius and Naz Reid going out. Your stretch bigs are gone. So, and Dante DiVincenzo's not playing next year. Very guard heavy with Ayo Dosunmu. And then LaMelo Ball need the ball in their hands to create. So does Anthony Edwards. Like, these 3 guys, it's very similar. I mean, you think of like OKC or San Antonio as guard heavy deep, but they're more offensive minded. Those other teams have defensive guys. Those guys play defense. They know how to be off the ball some. These guys are a little different. So I don't know how I see that. But Charlotte, they're in a good space right now. I like what they've done. They've gotten better. They re-signed Kobe White. They got some good draft picks in the mix. And Naz Reid, a stretch 4 that a lot of teams would love to have. So I like what Charlotte's done with this trade.
All right, so Minnesota confusing you just a little bit with that trade. What about Boston? What do you make of them shopping Jaylen Brown around?
I'm a little more confused with the Boston trade. Not a lot more confused. If you can't get Giannis or another top 10, top 20 player in this league, why are you still shopping him? You need at least one of those guys, a top 20 guy, or at least 2 top 30, 40, like top 40 guys in the league to maximize or to equal out what Jaylen Brown brings to the table. So just because this Giannis deal didn't work out doesn't mean you have to get rid of him. But I think that's what they're thinking. But he's a great guard, all-NBA guard, Finals MVP, you know, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Like, he's done all those things. Was MVP caliber player this season. So you're letting him go with no other real options that are in that category available on the table. So I don't know what the plan is or the goal is here, but they better hope they get